Most cities from 40 to over 100 people depending on location. The bunks are stacked 3 high in some sections, bolted to the walls. Each one roughly the size of a...
For Thanksgiving and Christmas, the culinary team prepares full traditional spreads. Roasted turkey, dressing, mashed potatoes, gravy, pies. Officers are required by tradition to serve the enlisted crew on those days. For a few hours, the dining area feels less like a military vessel, and more like a shared table far from home. Everything happening below decks exists to support what happens above it. The flight deck of a modern carrier is one of the most dangerous workplaces on Earth. It is also one of the most precisely choreographed. Jets weighing tens of thousands of pounds land and take off within seconds of each other. Dozens of sailors in color-coded jerseys move between them, directing aircraft, fueling them, arming them, connecting them to launch systems, while jet engines scream overhead and prop wash pushes across the deck with enough force to knock a person down. The color system is how order is maintained. Yellow jerseys direct aircraft movement. Green jerseys handle catapult and arresting gear operations. Red jerseys manage weapons and ordnance. Purple jerseys handle fuel. Blue jerseys move aircraft manually. White jerseys handle safety and inspections. Everyone on the flight deck knows their role and stays in their lane. One mistake, one person in the wrong place at the wrong moment, can be fatal. Modern carriers have replaced the old steam-driven catapults with electromagnetic launch systems. The new system accelerates aircraft from 0 to flight speed in under 3 seconds, with smoother, more precisely controlled force than steam could deliver. The result is less stress on airframes and more reliable launches across a wider range of aircraft weights. Returning aircraft are caught by a system of arresting wires stretched across the aft end of the flight deck. A hook extending from the aircraft's tail snags one of the wires on landing, bringing the jet from landing speed to a complete stop in roughly 2 seconds. If the hook misses all the wires, a bolter, the pilot immediately goes to full power and flies off the bow to come around for another attempt. A full flight cycle, from first launch to last recovery, can involve dozens of aircraft moving in a continuous rhythm that looks chaotic from a distance and operates like clockwork up close. Cycles run throughout the day and night. The flight deck does not distinguish between noon and midnight. Below the flight deck, accessible by large deck-edge elevators, is the hangar bay. This is where aircraft go when they are not flying, for maintenance, repairs, inspections, and weapons loading. The hangar bay is enormous. Multiple aircraft can be worked on simultaneously, surrounded by equipment carts, tool chests, and staging areas. Mechanics in coveralls crawl into engine bays, pull panels from avionics sections, replace hydraulic lines, and test control surfaces. Their work is governed by a precise maintenance cycle. Every aircraft has a log. Every repair is documented. Every system is checked before the plane returns to the flight deck. Weapons are assembled here as well. Ordnance teams building precision-guided munitions, loading them onto carts, and staging them for the next cycle. The noise inside the hangar bay is relentless. Air-powered tools, generators, forklifts, ventilation systems moving air through a space the size of a warehouse. The whole operation is continuous. There is no end-of-day shutdown. There is no emptying of the hangar bay and turning off the lights. Something is always being fixed, inspected, or loaded. The systems keeping all of this operational run deep in the ship, out of sight, but never out of mind. Nuclear reactor operators monitor their systems around the clock from control rooms that are quiet, climate-controlled, and isolated from the noise of the rest of the vessel. They manage the reactors that produce the electricity and propulsion power that the entire ship depends on. The reactors require constant attention and produce no exhaust. The ship leaves no smoke trail on the horizon. Desalination plants process seawater into fresh water at a rate of hundreds of thousands of gallons per day. That water flows to every drinking fountain, every sink, every shower, every kitchen and laundry room on the ship. The laundry itself is a constant operation. Nearly 5,000 people generate uniforms and linens daily, and the washers and dryers run in shifts just like every other department. Electricians maintain the miles of wiring that power lighting, electronics, communications, and machinery throughout the ship. Damage control teams stand ready to respond to fire, flooding, or structural damage. Their training is constant because the consequences of a failure at sea are unlike those anywhere else. Every system supports every other system. The reactors power the desalination. The desalination produces water-fitted isotopes. The kitchens feed the mechanics. The mechanics keep the aircraft flying. The aircraft carry out the mission. Pull any thread and the rest will follow. A crew this large cannot rely on a portside hospital. The ship carries its own. The medical department operates a fully equipped facility capable of handling everything from routine physicals and dental cleanings to emergency trauma surgery. There is a pharmacy, an intensive care unit, physical therapy equipment, and a mental health team. Doctors, nurses, corpsmen, and specialists rotate through shifts just like every other department. Deployment is physically demanding, but it is also mentally taxing. Sailors are away from home for months at a time. Relationships strain. News from family arrives in delayed packets. The rhythm of work, sleep, continues without the relief of weekends, vacations, or ordinary days. The mental health team exists precisely because those stresses are predictable and manageable if they are addressed before they compound. Chaplains serve a similar function, offering a space outside the chain of command where sailors can speak without consequence. Their presence is not incidental. It is part of the operational design of the ship. There is a phrase used in naval culture: the ship is always the priority. What it means, practically, is that the mission does not pause for personal comfort, exhaustion, or preference. The carrier keeps moving, the aircraft keep flying, the food keeps getting cooked, and the reactors keep running and the damage control teams keep standing their watches, because somewhere in the world, there is a reason this ship is where it is. And yet, inside that operational logic, Inside the discipline and the hierarchy and the constant noise, there is something that resembles ordinary life. Sailors find corners of the ship to call their own. They form friendships in berthing compartments and on smoke decks and in the galley line. They celebrate birthdays and watch movies and argue about sports teams and miss their families and write letters home. The carrier is not just a weapons platform, or a diplomatic symbol, or a line item in a defense budget. It is a place where thousands of people spend months of their lives, working, sleeping, eating, worrying, and carrying on. From the outside, it looks like a city on the water. From the inside, it is something more complicated. It is a community built around a purpose, operating continuously, and asking every one of its members, day after day, to show up and do their point. That is what it takes to keep something this big moving.